We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. I just got off work. It's 8 a.m. on a Saturday, the 13th. Dun, dun, dun. Been a long week. Not too bad of a week, though. I felt pretty good, for the most part. Tomorrow we got the big bosses coming in, which sucks. Yeah, I can't stand working while being watched. I feel like that's when I fuck up the most. Yeah, no fun. Valentine's Day, hopefully. Happy Valentine's Day if you're hearing this. Let's see, today's the 3rd. Yeah, it'd be the day after tomorrow will be Valentine's Day. Me and Sammy, sadly, have been working the whole time. I did get her Nintendo Switch, though. I've been saving up for a while. I was gonna get it to her for Christmas and just didn't have enough money, so I figured, I'll get her one for Valentine's Day, and so that's what she got. We do have a trip planned, a small trip, nothing big. When we do go to out for Valentine's Day, it's I got it somewhere. One of the subscribers had, God, I can't remember the place. It's in Louisville. It's like a haunted asylum we're gonna go check out. It's in a park, so that'll be a cool Valentine's Day, and you guys will actually get to see it because we'll film it and put it on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube and you're listening elsewhere, check out the YouTube channel. It's literally just Abe Williams. The profile picture is a sideways dream catcher. And if you're on YouTube, you can give us a listen also on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Radio Public, Breaker, Anchor, BitChute, and hopefully I think soon Rumble. So, and if you do check us out on any of those other types of things besides BitChute and Rumble, and YouTube, we're on YouTube also, UGETube. If you check us out on anything like Breaker, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Anchor, we do get paid like a penny per listen, so we're up to $1.55. We're saving up for a splicer, so that way me and Sammy can do more podcasts together. Our schedules are different, but hey, 'tis life. But today is an ongoing series on the Book of Enki. The subject is the Anunnaki. It's Sumerian tablets, translated by Zachariah Sitchin. Rest in peace. Basically, it's about how, if you're an ancient astronaut theorist, which I am personally, how man's DNA was altered to mine gold to save Nibiru. But, yeah, let's get into it, guys. By the way, this is an ongoing series. Last episode was Ea's journey to Earth. I think there was like 2 more episodes before that, and then we did an episode on the Sumerian Cain and Abel. So I'll try to remember to leave those in the links. But yeah, check those out. we'll get going into this. Now this is the account of how Eridu on earth was established, how the count of 7 days was begun. In silence did Alalu Ea embrace. With tears of joy his eyes were filled. Before him Ea bowed his head. Respect for his father by marriage he was showing. In the marshes the heroes were advancing. More donned fishes' suits. So basically like scuba diving gear. The mud ahead was avoiding. Ashore stepped the heroes. Before Alalu they were bowing. Ashore came Anzu, the last chariot to depart. Before Alalu he bowed. With him Alalu in welcome locked arms. To all who had arrived Alalu words of welcome spoke. To all who were assembled Ea words of command spoke. Here on earth I am the commander, he was saying. On a life or death mission we have come. In our hands is Nibiru's fate. He looked about for a place for encampment. He was searching. Heap up soil, mounds fashioned there, Ea gave command. An encampment to set up. By the way, this is translated from cuneiform tablets, so that's why the language is broken like that. I can read. I promise you that. To a place not afar he was pointing. A reed hut abode by Alalu erected. To Anzu then words he directed. To Nibiru words by beaming deliver. To the king, my father Anu, successful arrival announce. Soon the hue of the skies was changing. From brightness to reddish it was turning. A sight never before seen was unfolding. The sun, as a red ball on the horizon, was disappearing. Fear seized the heroes. Of the great calamity afraid they were. Alalu, with laughter, words of comfort, was saying, a setting of the sun it is. The ending of one day on earth it is marking. For a quick rest lie down. A night on earth is beyond imagining short. Before you expect the sun will appearance make. On earth it will be morning. Before expecting darkness came, the heavens from the earth it separated. Lightnings the darkness pierced, rains and thunders followed. By winds were the waters blown, storms of an alien god they were. In the chariot the heroes hungered down, in the chariot the heroes huddled. Resting to them did not come, they were greatly agitated. With quickened hearts the sun returned they awaited. Smiling when its rays appeared they were joyful, and backslapping. And it was evening, and it was morning. Their first day on earth it was. By daybreak Ea the ongoings considered. To separate waters from waters heed he was giving. Ingir he made of sweet waters the master, drinking waters to provide. To the snake pond with Alalu he went, its sweet waters to consider. Evil serpents in the pond were swarming, so did Ingir to Ea say. The marshlands Ea then contemplated. The abundance of rain waters he weighed. Imbululu he placed in charge of the marshlands. To mark out the thicket of reeds, him directed. Nkemdu, in charge of ditch and dike, he placed a boundary for the marshes to fashion. For the waters that from heaven rain a gathering place to make. Thus were the waters below from the waters above separated. Marsh waters from sweet waters asunder were set. And it was evening and it was morning, the second day on earth it was. When the sun morning announced, the heroes their assigned task were performing. With Alalu, Ea to the place of grass and trees his steps directed. All that in the orchard grows, herbs and fruits after their kind to examine. To Isamud, his vizier, Ea questions was addressing. What is this plant? What is this? What is that plant? Him he was asking. Isamud, one of much learning, food that grows well he could distinguish. He tore a fruit for Ea. A honey plant it is, to Ea he was saying. One fruit he himself ate, one fruit Ea was eating. Of food that grows, by its good distinguish, Ea the hero, guru, put in charge. Thus were the heroes waters and food provided, satiated they were not. And it was evening, and it was morning, the third day on earth it was. On the fourth day the wind ceased blowing, the chariot by waves was not disturbed. Let tools from the chariot be brought, let abodes in the encampment be built, Ea thus commanded. Kula, in charge of mold and brick, Ea appointed, from the clay bricks to fashion. Mushdamu, to lay foundations he directed, dwelling abodes to erect. All day the sun was shining, the great light by day it was, by evening time, Kingu, earth's moon, in fullness a pale light on the earth it cast. A lesser light to rule the night among the celestial gods accounted to be. And it was evening, and it was morning, the fourth day on earth it was. On the fifth day, Ea, Ningursig, a boat of reeds to fashion commanded, basically a raft. The measure of the marshes to take, the stretch of the swamplands to consider. Ulmash, he who what the waters swarms know, so he's a sailor, who of fowl that fly he has understanding. Ulmash as a companion Ea took, between good and bad to distinguish. Oh, no, he's saying he knows like the sea creatures, Ulmash does. Kinds that the waters swarm, kinds in that the sky give wing, to Ulmash many were unknown, here on earth basically. Bewildering was their number, good were their carp, among the bad they were swimming. In Balulu, the marshland's master, Ea summoned. In Kimindu, in charge of ditch and dike, Ea summoned. To them he gave words in the marshlands to make a barrier, with cane breakers and green reeds, an enclosure to fashion, fish from fish they separate. A trap for carp, that from a net could not escape. A place whose snare no bird that is good for food could escape. Thus were fish and fowl by their good kinds separated, for the heroes provided. And it was evening and it was morning, on the fifth day on earth it was. On the sixth day, Ea of the orchard's creatures took account. And Ursag to the task he assigned, that which creeps and that which on feet walks to distinguish. Their kinds, and Ursag, astounded of the ferocity of their wildness, to Ea an account he gave. Ea Kula summoned. To Mushdamu urgent commands he gave. By eve time, the abodes to be completed, by a fence for protection to be surrounded. The heroes to the task put their shoulders, bricks on the foundations were quickly laid. With reeds were the roofings made, and cut down trees were the fencing put up. Anzu, a beam that kills from the chariot brought over, a speaker that word beams at Ea's abode he set up. By eve time, complete was their encampment. For the night therein the heroes gathered. Ea and Alalu and Anzu the doings considered. All that was done indeed was good. And it was evening and it was morning the sixth day. And on the seventh day the heroes in the encampment were assembled. So now they have their little encampment set up. To them Ea spoke these words. A hazardous journey we have undertaken. From Nibiru to seventh planet, a dangerous way we traversed. At earth we with success arrive. Much good we attained, an encampment we established. Let this day be a day of rest, the seventh day hereafter a day of resting always be. So there you have like the pre-Bible, pre-Christianity, pre-Judaism. The Sumerians were the first, honestly. I know that breaks a lot of people's hearts, but there you go. There's where the seventh day of rest comes from. Let this place henceforth be named Eridu be called. Home in the far away, the meaning thereof it will be. Let a promise be kept. Let Alalu and Eridu the commander be declared. So basically he became the commander. Alalu became the commander in Eridu. He wanted to be king of Nibiru, but he ended up becoming king of Eridu instead. The heroes thus assembled in unison agreement shouted. Words of consent Alalu uttered, then homage to Ea he greatly paid. Let Ea a second name be given. Nudimud, the artful fashioner, let him be called. In unison the heroes' agreements announced. And it was evening, and it was morning, the seventh day. Now we get into the next tablet, or not next tablet, but the next section of the tablet. This is where it gets good, when they start getting the gold. Now this is the account of how the searching for gold was begun, and how the plans on Nibiru made to Nibiru salvation did not provide. After the encampment of Eridu was established, and the heroes with food were satiated, Ea the task of gold from the waters obtaining started. In the chariot the firestones were stirred up, its great cracker was enlivened. That which water sucks from the chariot was extended, into the marsh waters it was inserted. Into a vessel of crystals the water was directed. From the waters the crystals all that is metal in the vessel extracted. Then from the vessel that which spits out the waters to a fish pond spat out. Thus were the metals that were in the waters in the vessel collected. Ingenious was Ea's handiwork, an artful fashioner indeed he was. For 6 earth days marsh waters were sucked in, marsh waters were spat out. In the vessel metals indeed were collected. The metals on the 7th day by Ea and Alalu were examined. Of many kinds were the metals in the vessel. Iron there was, much copper there was. Of gold there was no abundance. In the chariot another vessel, the artful handiwork of Nindumid, the metals after their kinds were separated. Ashore kind by kind they were carried. For 6 days thus did the heroes toil. On the 7th day they rested. For 6 days were the crystal vessels filled and emptied. On the 7th day were the metals accounted. There was iron, there was copper, and other metals too. Of the gold, the smallest pile was accumulating. Basically, they're not finding much gold in that particular spot. In the night times the moon waxed and waned. By the name month did Ea its circuit call. At month's very start, its luminous horns still 6 days signified. By its half crown the 7th day it was announced. A day to rest it was. At midday, by a fullness was the moon distinguished. Then it paused to become diminished. When the sun's course was the moon's circuit appearing, with earth's circuit, it was its face revealing. Fascinated by the moon's motions was Ea. Its attachment as Kingu to Ki he contemplated. What purpose did the attachment serve? What heavenly sign was it giving? A month did Ea the moon's circuit call. Month to its circuit he gave name. For 1 month, for 2 months, in the chariot were the waters separated. So they've been there 2 months now. The sun every 6 months to earth another season gave. Winter and summer did Ea by names call them. There was winter and there was summer, by year of earth did Ea the full circuit call. By year's end of the accumulated gold account was taken. Much to dispatch to Nibiru there was not. The swampland's waters are deficient. Let the chariot to the deeper ocean be moved, so was Ea saying. From its moorings the chariot united, back whence it came it was shifted. With great care were the crystal vessels stirred up, the salt waters through them passing. Metals by their kind were separated, gold among them was sparkling. From the chariot of the happenings Ea to Nibiru word did beam. Anu to hear it was pleased indeed. In its destined circuit, Nibiru to the sun's abode was returning. A closeness to earth on its Shar circuit was Nibiru attaining. With eagerness did Anu about the gold inquire. Is there enough for sending to Nibiru? He was asking. Alas, not enough was the gold from the waters collected. Let another Shar pass. Let the quantity be doubled, Ea to Anu consoled. From the ocean's water the obtaining of gold continued. In his heart, Ea with apprehension was filling. From the chariot parts were hauled out. A chamber from them was assembled. Abgal, he who knows piloting of the sky chamber, to take charge he appointed. Daily in the sky chamber with Abgal did Ea upwards soar, the earth and its secrets to learn. For the sky chamber an enclosure was constructed, by Alalu's chariot was it placed. Daily the crystals in Alalu's chariot did Ea study, by their beams he discovered to understand. Whence does this gold come? He asked Alalu. Where on earth are Tiamat's gold veins? In the sky chamber with Abgal did Ea upward soar, the earth and its secrets to learn. Over the great mountains they roamed, in the valleys great rivers they saw. Steppes and forests below were stretched. Thousands of leagues was their reach. Vast lands separated by ocean, they were recorded. With the beam that scans the soils they penetrated. So now they're just kind of flying around the earth, different countries, different continents, basically x-raying it, trying to find gold. On Nibiru impatience was growing. Can gold protection provide? Was the outcry increasing. Assemble the gold on Nibiru's. Nearing gold you must deliver, so did Anu, Ea command. Repair Alalu's chariot, for returning to Nibiru make it fit, for the Shar's completion, make it ready, so was Anu saying. Ea, his father's, the king, words was heeding. The repairing of Alalu's chariot he was contemplating. As the sky chamber, one eve, by the side of the chariot they landed. With Abgal, the chariot they entered, a secret deed in the darkness to perform. The weapons of terror, the 7 of them, from the chariot they removed. To the sky chamber they took them. Inside the sky chamber, them to give hiding. By sunrise, Ea with Abgal in the sky chamber soared to another land was their direction. There in a secret place did Ea the weapons hide. In a cave, a place unknown, he stored them. Then to Anzu Ea words of command gave. To repair Alalu's chariot, he him directed. For returning to Nibiru to make it fit, by the Shar's completion to make it ready. So they're getting ready to send Alalu back. Anzu in the ways of chariots greatly skilled, to the task his labors set. He made its thrusters hum again, its tablets he carefully considered. The absence of weapons of terror he soon discovered. With anger, Anzu cried out. Ea of their hiding away gave the explanation. Forsworn is the weapon's use, Ea was saying. Neither in the heavens nor on firm land shall they ever be harnessed. Basically talking about nukes, y'all. Nuclear bombs, man. Without them, no passage to the hammered bracelet is safe, Anzu was saying. Without them, without water thrusters, the danger is endurance surpassing. Alalu of Eridu, the commander, the words of Ea considered. To the words of Anu he gave heed. The words of Ea by the council of Nibiru are attested, Alalu was saying. But without the chariot's return, Nibiru shall be doomed. Abgal, he who knows piloting, boldly toward the leaders step forward. I shall be the pilot. The dangers I shall valiantly face, he was saying. Thus was the decision made. Abgal shall be the pilot. Anzu on earth shall be staying. On Nibiru the stargazers, the destinies of the celestial gods contemplated. An opportune day they were selecting. Into Alalu's chariot basketfuls of gold were carried. The forepart of the chariot Abgal entered. The commander's seat he occupied. From the chariot of Ea, to him Ea a tablet of destiny gave. It shall be that which shows the way for you. By it the opened pathway you shall find. The chariot's firestones Abgal stirred up, like music was enthralling. The chariot's great cracker he enlivened, a reddish brilliance it was casting. Ea and Alalu, the multitude of heroes, were standing around. Farewell to him they were bidding. Then the chariot with a roar heavenward rose, to the heavens it ascended. So Alalu actually stayed, it sounds like. Abgal was sent up. To Nibiru words of assent were beamed. On Nibiru there was much expecting. So basically they're going to return with not much, but a small amount of gold to Nibiru. So that's basically the story of the first gold to be mined from Earth and sent back to Nibiru. The story shall continue. Honestly, it's a book, The Lost Book of Enki. It's a book that's filled with many tales. I've told one. This one actually is a longer one, but I'll end this one on a good note. It will be continued, though. There will be more episodes on this particular one. And there's several. It's almost like a Bible. It's full of little mini stories. But I hope you all enjoyed. And I hope you all have a good day.
We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to